Hi, this is Eric from Cafe Watercolor. Today I thought I'd do a very simple demo of a photo that I took maybe about a week ago. It was a very simple photo. It's very foggy morning and I look out to the Lake Washington and the other side is downtown Seattle. It's just very foggy, but for some reason this scene just really captivating to me. I love the mood, I love the depth and the atmosphere, so I thought I want to paint this scenery. So I'm going to do minimum amount of drawing for this one. All I'm going to have is the water line here, and that's about it. Everything else I will try to do it with paintbrush. The reason for that is I want it to be as clean as possible, especially the sky area. So there's probably going to be quite a bit of wet onto wet for this one. But let's just go for it. So the first thing I'm going to do is to pre-wet the top, because I do want to have a nice clean wash for the sky, hopefully edge to edge. So I'm going to just do a nice clean water, just pre-wet this. I'll stop around here, and yeah, we're gonna start to have some highlights and stuff, the buildings on the other side and places like that. I actually make some of the area a little bit dry so I can work with it. And now I am going to mix a cool gray color, cobalt blue, a touch of burnt umber. That gives me my gray. So a little bit more blue than umber. These are fresh squeezed colors, so they're pretty heavy. They're pretty intense, so need to use quite a bit more waters. So a little bit more blue, actually a little bit more. Mix them well. I will give it a touch of alizarin crimson just to have slight purple tint to it. Okay. All right. And I see I'm going to try to use a big brush for this, just so that we can make the big wash a little bit easier. And there we go. Reload the brush, continue on. It's already pre-wet, so you can see the paint spread out quite naturally. And don't worry about it if it looks a little bit darker than you expected. When it's dry, it's going to lighten up quite a bit. Okay, and I paint tilt this so you can see the paint naturally flows down. Okay, I'm gonna add just a little bit more water, paint I mean. So just add a little bit more paint, make the wash slightly darker so it serves as a gradation. There we go. Okay, sort of overlap what we have. And down here, this is where we're going to start to leave a little bit of highlights and stuff. A little bit more paint, darker still. All right, so we see quite a bit of beads, and I'm gonna keep those there. And what I'm going to do is to just get to the water line area. Okay, but here's the thing, there's going to be some lights here and there because of the houses and stuff. And since I am not doing any drawing, anything like that, I am going to just paint around some loose shape and stuff. So something like that. Let me zoom in so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so this painting is all about subtlety. So some a couple houses here and some buildings on the hills, bridges, whatever it is. Right? It's not even that important how defined these are. They just need to be there to suggest some detail and stuff. Right? And don't leave those. Don't turn it into a pattern. Trying to give it a little bit of a randomness here and there. Right? And they don't all have to be very, very, just completely pure white as well. Like some of the highlights, some of the details in the distance, they're actually going to be as bright as the sky. And the sky is not pure white because of the fog and everything else, right? So there we go. So a little bit of highlight here and there. Okay, so we'll stop down here. Before we continue though, I do want some very, very subtle cloud. There's some other photos that I took. They actually have a little bit of kind of the dark cloud just kind of floating across. So I'm going to use my nylon brush and we'll hope we can pull this off. This is always a sort of a scary stage, but let's just do that. Okay, so make sure your nylon brush isn't too watery. Okay, work off a little bit on the side. And I just kind of so the top part of the painting's already sort of dry already, so I'm not going to keep forcing it, and I only want just like a little bit of the kind of a smoky cloud, foggy cloud anyway, so a little bit down here, maybe a little bit here, just some subtle hints of stuff going on, and and I think that's about it. Probably a good idea not to forcing it to keep going. All right. And then I think it's a good time for us to continue the wash down. So I'm just going to continue this wash. Oops. Sorry for the noise. Okay, so a little bit bluer. Again, it's a touch of umber, and I'm just gonna keep moving down. So there's some dark line there. That's fine. We'll just keep it there because we'll probably need that for the distant stuff anyways. Okay, and a little bit of alizarin crimson, a bit more warms with it. So it's very simple painting in terms of colors. We just have a few colors, right? It's a foggy day, so there's not a lot of colors showing. of a bit more crimson. Okay, edge to edge wash. There we go. That's it. Okay, so right now, this is still quite moist, so I think I can just use a nylon brush and do some wet on too wet here. I was thinking if I need to kind of re-wet it after it's dry, but I think I can take a little bit of risk and just keep going. So with a nylon brush, mix a bit more thicker colors, and I'll just use the tip of my brush, okay, and a little bit more crimson actually, and I'm just going to just go over it like that. Okay, still nice and moist down here, which is perfect, exactly what I want it to be. I'll give it a little bit of space on the top, just so that it won't flow down too much. Okay, all right, so just okay, so there's that. Okay, so again, just kind of leave some random highlights here and there. A bit of that here. I'll break this a little. And okay, go over it like so. Okay, I'm gonna grab a little bit of a lighter color here, and yeah, I might need to soften those a little bit with a paper towel later, but I think this is fine. A few soft dots here and there. I'm trying to maintain the overall kind of flatness there, but because it's still moist, you're gonna see a little bit of fuzzy edge, which I actually don't mind that. I think that adds to the atmosphere. But try to maintain the overall flatness. There's like a long ripple for reflection or something. Just kind of get that in there. Okay. The paper is a little bit warpy, so you might see like a warp there, but I'm trying to keep it as straight as I can. A couple more stuff here. Add a little bit more dark at the bottom. Again, still quite moist, especially down here, so I will keep sort of working on it. Okay, I'm gonna take a paper towel and yeah, see if I can just kind of very gently just lift some of the paint on the top, like so, right? Just to get that kind of fogginess in. Okay, over here as well should be a little bit less contrast here. Yeah, but I think this is good. I still want the other side to be visible, and okay, grabbing some colors and I think I was wanted to do like a wet on to wet, but apparently it's starting to dry already. So I might need to re-wet the bottom, just to kind of get it a little bit softer. I mean, this is actually not bad. I went over with clean water since it's already dry. So this is actually not too bad. Yeah. And paper towel can kind of use as an eraser. Like I want this edge to be just a little bit cleaner, so I can just kind of go over it, clean up some of these edges. But again, don't overdo it. Just a little bit here and there. Pick up some of the paints. And I think this is going pretty good. All right, so I am going to re-wet the bottom. So one thing I don't want to do is to actually touch this portion of the painting. Otherwise, the paint is just going to float down. I have another bucket like right here. You can't really see it, but I have another bucket of clean water. So I'm just going to use that. The bucket I use for washing my brush, the water might be a little bit dirty. So I'll just use this. I'll wet it all over, and you probably see it's starting to melt some of the paint down here because it's not completely dry yet, but that's okay. We'll work with it. Okay, so nice and moist. Okay, so just subtle does it. Okay, there you go. All right, and I'll use my soft round brush, kind of almost like a Kolinsky brush, and I'll do some wet on to wet work while it is still, this is quite wet right now. So anything I paint in is likely going to vanish. So like a little bit of that here. They're just going to be vanished. So just paint them. Go ahead and paint with confidence, okay? And note that watercolor is going to do what it's going to do. All right, and back with my nylon brush. What I'm going to do is to lift some of the paint here. Like if you look at the, I should have tried to show like a bigger version. If you look at the water here, there's some lighter areas, right? Because of the reflections and ripples and stuff. So I'm going to try to do that. So by, clean my nylon brush, I can, this is clean and dry. I can do this to sort of lift some of the areas. And we do that while it is still quite moist. So a touch of water, actually, as you know. I'll go over it several times if I needed to. Over here as well. Okay. Again, the paper is kind of warpy, so yeah, you're gonna see a little bit of warp. But yeah, when you look at it kind of up straight, yeah, it's a lot more straight, just to show that I'm trying to keep up with the straightness of the edge right there. And see, like a lot of color, it just sort of fades. And it's still drying, right? When it's completely dry, you can be sure that a lot of those areas are just going to be very, 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 very soft. Okay, so a little bit more water. So again, I'm just gonna try to add a few sort of a soft ripples here with my nylon brush. So again, using a nylon brush during this kind of wet on to wet stage, you get to have just a little bit more. You get to retain the shape that you paint just a little bit more because it's drier, less water. Okay, and then let me soften this just a little bit, just barely touching the paper, soften some of these marks that I made. Okay, so I want to make the bottom edge over here just slightly darker, slightly. Okay. Bring this over, and I think that's about it. Yeah, I think the more I do is the less clean it's going to be. So I think what I need to do right now is just to wait, to let it wait, to wait it out, and to see how it resolves itself. Okay, we've got quite a bit of water down here, so let me pick up that bead so it doesn't back run upwards. And actually gonna add just a little bit more paint right here. Yeah, I really just want to turn into like a very simple shape painting. Now I look at it, I might not even need that cloud there, but I paint that in, so what can I do? Okay, so I think that's about it for this painting, and I will share with you. I'll edit in the painting after it's completely dry, when the paints are all kind of settled down, and adjust the color a little bit after I take the photo. And I didn't put in the trees in the front because I think they're just not going to look good in this case. So they're just going to be kind of distraction in the foreground. So I don't want to do that. But this is a relatively simple painting. It still took me a little bit of a time, but I hope you enjoyed it. A lot of time, some sceneries that doesn't look all that impressive can actually be a very interesting painting subject. And if something about the mood that really attracts you, like how this is attracted to me, feel free to paint it. Try your hand, see how it turns out. This is Eric from Cafe Watercolor. I will see you guys next time.